Now, the topic for our conversation this morning is youth in agriculture, Ghana's next billion dollar industry. Now, Ghana imports over $2 billion worth of food annually, yet we have fertile lands and a very youthful population. So, why aren't young people seeing agriculture as a profitable career path? Today, I have three amazing guests who will help us break down the challenges, the opportunities, and how we can use technology, business strategies, and investment to unlock agriculture's full potential. I have in studio with me Philip Keiko, who is a farmer and the project manager of the Eco Garden Project, and also Emmanuel Chene, who is a founder of QET Organic Farms and Sabet Agri Consult, and also Mr. Gordon Kote Nikoe, who is a senior business advisor at Isoko. Isoko is a Ghanaian agri-tech company that uses mobile technology to connect farmers to markets and provide them with information, services, and financial products, ultimately aiming to empower smallholder farmers and improve their livelihoods. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Philip. Philip, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. I have joining me over Zoom Emmanuel Chini and Mr. Gordon Kote Nikwe. Gentlemen, if you can hear me, how are you doing?
Well, I'm fine. How about you?
All right. Yeah, I'm doing well. So maybe I should start from Gordon in studio. Philip in studio. Philip, you are into agribusiness. And just to lay a foundation for our conversation, what made you go into agribusiness?
Well, first of all, I grew up with a passion for agriculture. And I think my demographic influenced my decision to go into agri.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up, my parents were farmers.
Right.
And then growing up, you get to be on the farm, you get to help out. And then when you start going to school, you realize that there's actually money to be made here, because this is where extra income came to take you through education, through schooling and all that. And so that made me realize that, okay, the general notion about agriculture being a field for, the aged and the uneducated, you realize that when you start going to school, you see, okay, there's actually potential here. So coupled with the passion, seeing that it's a very lucrative field because there's always demand. And so I decided, okay, this is something I want to do. I want to put seeds in the ground. I want to feed my neighborhood. I want to feed my community.
Right.
Yeah, so that sparked it up to start a farm.
I see. But there are many young people who are not like you, who also, who did not grow up in a default, maybe demographic that allows them to get into agriculture. So how can these people get into? We'll come into that part of the conversation very soon.
Sure.
But let me go to Emmanuel. Hello, Emmanuel.
Hi.
Yes, you are into agribusiness as well. You run Sabet Agri Consult and also QET Organic Farms. Tell us about them.
Oh, okay. So, thank you for this opportunity. And I want to say a big good morning for our viewers and listeners. So, QET Organic Farms Limited is an agribusiness. We are basically sales, vegetables, and then value addition to some indigenous crops in Ghana. So, for instance, we have dried mangoes, so we process mangoes to be dried, and then pineapples to be dried to ensure that we have this food service and all that. So that's what we do at TDWC or Capital Limited. At Summit Consult, we're also looking at how we'll be able to help small holder farmers like Isoko is going, but ours is a different target. We're looking at people who want to start agribusiness but have little or no experience at all. People who might have invested, but then management and all that is going to be going. So there's this a known phrase that you can be an absentee farmer and then succeed. Here we are trying to break that barrier so that you can still be in Accra, do your 9 to 5 job and still have a farm and make it work. So that's what Sabotage Consult is basically about. So we do various forms of trainings, agribusiness skills trainings for starters and then people already enjoy it, management, farm management, farm setups, and all that. Thank you.
Yeah, Ima, unfortunately, we're struggling to hear you, and so we'll connect you over normal call and see if that will help. But let me also try and see if Mr. Gordon Cote will be heard. I mean, very clearly. If not, then we'll probably have to do a normal call as well. I don't know whether it's from Zoom or it's from the network. But Ima, I'll come back to you so that we can have a conversation around what you do and also what inspired you to get into that. But let me come to Mr. Gordon Cote, Nikwe. Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, great. Now, you work with Isoko. What exactly is the role of technology in farming?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to you. Good morning to my co-panelists, and then good morning to your listeners. With technology, it's one of the key things that helps each and everybody to do or make sure you go your optimize in your work of agriculture, in the work of agriculture. So Isoko, being a technological company, is trying to make sure that everything that the farmer or the agribusinessman needs to get the best out of whatever he's doing, we provide it to that person. If you are a farmer, the information you need concerning rainfall, concerning crop protocols, concerning whatever you do, disease, pest, early warnings, are all there to help you reduce one. The first thing is to reduce your costs. And technology helps you to reduce costs drastically. And then the rest follows. So yes, Isoko is a technology company looking at technology and making sure that technology works for the person who is using it. Thank you.
Now, but how can technology help farmers increase their income? I don't seem to get it.
Okay, so let me break it down this way.
Yeah.
So in the first instance, technology helps you know the rainfall pattern. What is the seasonal forecast? This year, Ghana Metro have forecast that in some areas they have above minimum rainfall. In some areas they are going to have below minimum rainfall. So what are we going to do? The technology have helped you to know this information. Now the next technology that we are going to use is now if you are getting below minimum rainfall, what are the volumes of water? And when you get that volume of water, which variety of crops can you grow? In Ghana, for example, we are lucky, we are blessed that any part you put a maize in the soil, it will grow and you harvest something. So in your area, let's say you are in Ashanti region, in Ejura, which variety of maize are you supposed to grow in the Ejura to make sure you get the best yield? And that will be determined by the varieties that have been produced through technology. Now, the soil that you are going to use, in Ghana, most of us don't do soil tests. But we need to run a soil test. It's technology that we use to do the test to know exactly which nutrients are lacking in the soil. And by knowing that, you can now know which nutrients are you going to add to what is there to get the best yield from the variety that you are going to get. Now, the next thing is that what are the crop protocols? What are the things that the crop that you are growing needs? We have maize, which is 90 days. We have maize, which is 120 days. We have maize, which is 180 days. All these maize have different way of production. And that's what technology comes. Now, technology have come in that you can do what they call the precision applications. You can just get water and drop exactly at the root zone of the maize. You can get a drone that you can fly over your farm and spray the whole farm for you at a very, very, very reduced cost and very, very efficient. So technology comes in to, one, help you reduce costs, two, help you to increase your productivity, and then the third thing is that help you reduce disease and pests on your farm.
I see. But I know that this is something that is being done here in Ghana. Some people are using technology very well, and I guess Philip, you are also using technology to farm.
The technology I use is the irrigation technology that he mentioned, where you have exact application at the root zone of the crops. So with drip irrigation, monitored by an expert, of course, you can have the control of moisture application and even fertilization. And this level of technology improves your efficiency.
Right.
It reduces wastage, and then you have value for your money in terms of the input cost, the capital you put in. And so this level of technology and the use of it has very little disadvantages. And it's a proof that when you digitalize, or let's say you incorporate technology in your agribusiness, you're definitely going to get your returns, because the advantages are numerous.
Right. Okay. Maybe we can go back a bit. Now I have Iman over the phone lines. Ima, I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Awesome. I can hear you loud and clear too. So maybe we should start a conversation from here now. Now, many people think agriculture is all about farming. Is that the case?
Okay, so agriculture has various facets of it. Because it's about farming. In fact, it starts from planting to when it's in the plate and then you're consuming it. So all processes.
Ima, can you raise your voice a bit?
Okay. Can you hear me now, please?
Yes.
Okay, so I was saying that agriculture does not start from, it's not just about farming, but then it starts from when you even perceive that you want to eat something to get a thing into your mouth. So there's so many areas to it, but then, like my brothers have already said, there's various aspects of it. That's the agribusiness part of it, the post-harvest management, and then the farming itself. So it's a widespread, it's a wide span of activity that happens in between. From our side or from our perspective, we are looking at two angles of it, where one we have a part of the business that's focused on farming, a part where it's focused on adding value, and a part that is focused on providing some form of services to agribusiness or farmers or people who want to start or go into any form of farming or agriculture. So it's not just about the farm, but then, like I mentioned, it has various facets of it, and it depends on how you're looking at it and how you want to look at it. But then you can play a role in every part of it. Logistics part of it, where you can just be buying from farmers and be supplying, like Isoko using on their platform. You can play a role in the technology aspect of it, integration of IoT, drone services, AI into it. That's also an agribusiness that's been done. So there's various aspects of it, but it depends on where you want to look at it from and where you want to tackle it from.
Right. Now we see that it is not just limited to farming, but is agribusiness Ghana's next billion-dollar industry?
Yes, it is. In fact, I think it's been overlooked for quite some too long, because a country like Ghana, where we have almost every resources, we are being blessed with good weather conditions. We have our when we look at the population also over the years, we have had a hard volumes or numbers of youth population. Like all factors are in our favor, and so it's sometimes disappointing to know that Ghana is importing, in fact, mushrooms. We import mushrooms, we import snails, we import virtually everything that we could produce in a larger quantities here. And trust me, like I mentioned, there are various facets of it. If you are into IT and you want to come to the agribusiness space, the opportunities are endless. If you are into food processing, or you have an agritech or food science background, if you want to enter into agribusiness, the opportunities are endless, because we have a consuming economy. Ghana is a consuming economy. So it means that anything you're going to produce that is going to, kind of feed into something has a potential to make you a millionaire. And some of us, we look at it and then we are so happy that we chose this path because the opportunities in between, the opportunities that it brings are enormous. And it's a $1 billion area that we could really look into it and then take advantage of it.
Right, I see Philip nodding a lot of the times in studio. And Philip, Ghana's food import is over $2 billion $2 billion. Why aren't we producing, more locally?
Well, I think it stems from sensitization, education. There is a notion that it is not a lucrative venture in terms of producing food.
But is it?
It is. Because, like my brother said, it's a very lucrative, and we are consumers in this country.
Right.
So that means that there is ready market for what you'd produce. When you look at most of the things that are being imported, there are things that, first of all, are climate support. And we have vast arable lands that would easily accommodate these in huge quantities. So you realize that the problem that we are facing is not a problem of resources, but rather it's a problem of initiative. And these initiatives can come from the government, can come from private organizations, but then again, the youth must be interested in venturing. And so I want to talk about how the mindset of the youth must first shift towards that direction, because the current agriculture that has the potential to be $1 billion industry comes from knowledge and expertise. Because we realize that most of the things that I mentioned require certain technical knowledge and experience and skills. And so, first of all, we need to have the interest to acquire these skills and then use them in this industry. Because if you want to cultivate over, let's say, thousands of acres of land, you'd need the required mechanization, automation, and all that. And you realize that the people that have this technology are those that have given themselves to learn these areas. Because the highest percentage of farmers now are aged and semi-literate, illiterate. So we, the growing youth that are interested in learning or that have the capacity to learn, must put our attention and our focus in that area, so that when we venture into it, we can actually scale up and make it worthwhile. Right. And then we can reduce the imports, because in this case now we are making more than we consume. So we end up turning the tide and then now exporting, making more revenue even for the country.
Right. So for you, one of the reasons why young people are not getting into entrepreneurship is a mindset.
Yeah.
They think it's for the poor.
Yeah.
Right. What can we do about it? We should do more education, I guess.
Yes, I think more education and making it lucrative. I think there are startups now, there are initiatives that are now attracting the youth, or should I say, attracting the youth, bringing attention to how lucrative it is. There are initiatives that are creating, business challenges, ideas, bringing funding that is going to make the youth see that, okay, this is worth going into. This is worth venturing into. And I think that is how the mindset will start changing, because you see your fellow switching fields into agriculture, and before you know it, he has greenhouses, he has a whole value chain, and he's bringing in returns, he's feeding a set population, he has regular stream of income. You realize that, okay, that is something I can also do. And then before you know it, it's a general it's a general concept now. And then that misconception would be removed. It will take time, but I think it's the step in the right direction.
Okay. Right, but I don't think education alone is enough. I'm sure there are other challenges that young people face, like land and all of that. Yes. So maybe you can talk about that.
Yes, the land tenure system is a huge problem, because if you want to acquire land as a young man, first of all, it needs to be in an area where you have reliable source of water. And then now looking at these locations, you realize that they are mainly bought, or they have this system where you don't have direct access to them. You'd have to go through so much processes. You have to consult different people, and sometimes these consultations come with underlining expenses even before you have an agreement on the quantity of land you want. And then when you even get some land in these areas, you now have to fight people for it. So it's like a whole fight. It's like a whole drag. And so it's not really encouraging people to go into it, because if you want to scale up from an acre to 20 acres, in acquiring that land, the number of things you need to consider has increased vastly, because the number of people you need to see and then the processes you need to go through is not directly favoring you. Everybody's looking to get something out of it. Before, even though at the end of the day, you'd be employing so many people, even in that neighborhood, they are going to directly benefit. But then at the start, it doesn't look like that. They all want to really take from you. And in that system, you realize that you are not inspired to even do more. You feel like, okay, let me just cut it a little bit. You would end up reducing your potential. And then before you know it, your capacity has reduced. And it affects how you go into the business, because it's not encouraging. There are no policies that are saying, that give local investors an upper hand, because we don't have that direct line to land, even in terms of leasing, in terms of how much we can get it for, or the deals we can have, just because we know that we are setting up an establishment that would benefit not only the local place but the country at large.
So the advocacy about young people getting into agribusiness is not becoming, it's not realistic because of some of these challenges you're facing. Now, Mr. Nikwe, you also engage a lot of farmers because of the kind of work you do. What other challenges do they mention? What other challenges do people face so much? Young people face so much so that they are unable to get into agribusiness? Hello, Mr. Nikwe. Hello. All right. Let me give that question to you, Emmanuel.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What other challenges? You also run a consultancy.
Yes.
Yeah. So what challenges do young people face?
I think the challenges are basic, like my brother mentioned. For instance, the land tenure system is really a problem. Myself, I've had that challenge at the beginning. So as young as I was trying to start a good business, and then in about 3 years, you've moved to 3 different locations in just 3 years. And notwithstanding also all the infrastructure investments you make in a place, and then in less than a year you have to move to different location and all that. And these are because we are not intentional about agribusiness, we're not intentional about agriculture as a country, because they beware as it is in other countries. They're very intentional and very deliberate about the youth getting into agribusiness, and so they'll make every effort to safeguard and protect the young person who is trying to go into agribusiness. In our case, you have to find your own way through it, and even when you think you're figuring it all out, you realize that there are other challenges or other phases of other challenges that will surface, and one of such is the land issues. And the next thing is about financing. When you speak to a lot of young people these days, you realize that they are really interested in doing one or going into agribusiness one way or the other. Either they want to go into processing, they want to go into farming, they want to provide some services within the agribusiness space. However, there are barriers, and one of such barriers is access to financing. We do not really have any proper financing scheme to give to young people to say, if you want to go into agribusiness, probably we have these inputs that we are giving to you, pay back after production. These systems can be put in place. If you tell a young person that, if you want to go into agribusiness, that's fine. They're giving you how many acres can you do We're helping you acquire the land. We're giving you all the inputs that you need. And then after planting, when you harvest, you pay back with either the product that you get at the end of the day, or you pay in cash. These are models that would really, encourage a lot of young people to go into it. However, the capital to start has always been a challenge. At the moment, even if you want to rent a land closer to water, you are renting between 500 to 1,000 cedis for a year. So, as a young person, just the rent of the land is almost 1,000 cedis. The land preparation, the seed, the fertilizers, and all other inputs that you may need, the labor cost and all that, hasn't come in. So by the time you're done, if you want to do proper farming, what you would include, you will need an irrigation setup and all that. By the time you're done with an acre, you'll be hovering around 15,000 Ghana cedis, 15 to 20,000 Ghana cedis, just to do an acre. And how many young people have access to that fund to be able to do that? So the person is so much interested in going into farming. However, these are some real life obstacles that is hindering, the ability to go into, because farming is not an easy, isn't an easy path either. It is an investment that, it's not like something that you need just about some 1,000, 2,000, and then you're good to go. In fact, it needs much more than that if you really want to do it and then scale it up and then, do some good. But then it doesn't also mean that we can't do anything at all, because then there are other farming activities that may not demand that high end investment. There are others that you could do from just a backyard and then you should be fine. You can start from your backyard and then you can expand it over the period. You can start from your corridors and then be fine. So I think also that it comes back also to the mindset that we need to have as young people, because probably you see Mr. Nkwe driving a Mercedes Benz because, and then you see him doing some farming and you think that, then let me also jump into it and then buy a Mercedes Benz in the next year. However, we may not even know how long he has been in the industry. We may not know how, the investment is put into it before we saw him drive the Benz. But because I'm seeing him drive Benz, the assumption, okay, if he's been able to do farming and then he's been able to buy things, I can also make it. That is a good motivation that, okay, I can also buy things from farming. However, we shouldn't make it look like it should be an immediate thing that once you invest today, tomorrow you should be able to go and buy things. But that has been the challenge for some young people. So they look at, it's too far for me to when they look at, okay, so I have to go about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years before be able to buy. It's too far. So then if I need to start from, let's say, a plot of land, I want to rather do 10 acres. So that in 10 acres, I know that when I do 10 acres, I'll be able to buy them in the next 2 years. However, we forget also that the investment you need to put in a 10-acre land is not joke. It's no joke at all. And we live in an economy where banks are not ready to invest into agriculture. And so it means that you need to find your way around to be able to get that investment. And getting that investment is where the difficulty really is, because then no investor wants to give you money when you're very green. Like basically, you have no experience, there's no experience, there's no level of exposure and all that. It would be difficult for an investor to hand to you 20,000, 30,000 canaries that go and start a farm when he's not even convinced whether or not he'll be able to spend over that money and then pay him profit. And so it means that as much as possible, you need to start your own investment, but at a very small pace, get the experience, do the learnings and unlearnings, and then in the long run, you'll be able to attract some form of investment. The good thing is that there are some forms of investments in the country that some organizations are doing a lot of grants and all that, even to people in agribusiness and in farming. And so it means that once you're doing the right thing, taking the steps one after the other, you may be able to get more peace. But then, from the beginning, you may not even have access to some of these funding because they want to get traction. They want to see what you've been doing over the period, what you've been doing on your own and all that. And so the challenges are endless. However, it doesn't mean that it can be done. It can be done. The thought starts from the mindset.
Right.
We need to shift our minds from how we see farming and then the way we perceive farming to be.
Right.
So looking at this from a different perspective and then understanding the processes that has been.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Ima. I mean, I'll plead that you speak up a bit more when you bring you into the conversation. I think we're straining to hear you. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. But let me bring Mr. Nico into the conversation. Mr. Nico, I was trying to call you earlier, but I think you dropped off the call. Now I want to know. Ima and Philip have mentioned certain challenges that young entrepreneurs face, and one of them is a land issue. Another is a financing. How can digital platforms like yours help smallholder farmers overcome some of these barriers?
Thank you very much. I think I agree with them on the challenges that they are saying. Land, one, finance, two. But in all this, there is a way out. As I said earlier on, the digital platforms helps you to reduce your cost of doing business, your cost of doing everything that you want to do on the farm. And the fact that the farmer will know that this week, there's not going to be any rain. Don't go and apply fertilizer. Don't even go and plant because there's not enough moisture in the soil to support you. Helps you save some money. Remember that if a farmer is supposed to do, let me say, spraying this week, and we are expecting heavy rains coming in this week, and he goes in, he will go with the chemical, he will go with the labor, he will go with his time. Now, if he sprays and within 2 hours, there's a heavy downpour, all that he has done is waste. So it becomes a challenge now to him that, look, I spent this amount of money in spraying the farm, now I need to spend that money again. The issue is we using the technology effectively. You can see my other colleague, I think Prince also said that.
Philip.
When Philip, when you are doing the technology and you are using it well, look, you reduce a whole lot of costs that will bear to you. Let me take just what he said, drip irrigation. Using the water straight at where the maize plant is. Now, the other side of the land becomes dry. No wheat will grow over there. So wheat control over there becomes very, very low. So you won't spend much money controlling wheat at where there is no water because the place is dry, the weeds are not growing. You see, this is reducing costs. Now, as I said earlier on, you know it will rain. You do some activity that supports rain. It will reduce costs. You know it's not going to rain. You need to mulch your land. It's going to reduce your cost of what? Using irrigation. All this helps you in one way or the other. Let me move from farming and let's go to agribusiness. Somebody trying to sell a product or buy a product, go into buying and selling. Let's say, yeah. What do? You now need to have idea where you get the yam from. At which time of the year that the price of yam is at the lowest cost that one can buy and sell later. How can you even store the yam? And storing yam is not easy. You need all these technologies to help you. And when you are using it, it helps you reduce your costs. I keep on saying it, reduce your costs. If you don't reduce your costs, you cannot make it on the market. Let me use another example. A farmer who is not using technology, who is not applying all the necessary fertilizers and every protocols on the base of a 1 acre farm, will go in, harvest and get a maximum four massive bags of maize. Somebody will use the technology and get a maximum, let me say minimum, 10 massive bags of maize. When they all go to the market, they sell at the same market. They're going to sell at the same price. So one person will sell 10 bags, one person will sell 4 bags. And you cannot push your inefficiency on the market. So using the right technology at the right time helps you reduce your cost of production and then helps you maximize the profit. Now, one thing that I would tell my other young Ghanaians that, look, as you said, agri is the way forward. There's multi-billionaire I'm not using the word billion, I use trillions of dollars in agriculture. And you can name all the people we claim big men in Ghana, in US, where have you? Each and every one of them have a farm. Start small. Instead of starting with 10 acres, just as most of our young are doing in their communities, in their villages, you will be walking around in the community saying, I have produced 40 acres of land. Please reduce it to 10. Okay. And put in all the necessary protocols that you are supposed to put in there. And I bet you will harvest more than the 40 acres. Start small and grow it. And by the time you realize you've grown big and even bigger than what you are even expecting to do. But if you are not, and you are not using the right type of ideas, most people go into agriculture without even visiting the agri extension agent or the Department of Agriculture. It's wrong. Go there and let them know what you are intending to do in that particular space. And they will help you. They'll give you all the see crop research, see animal research. They have a lot of information over there. It will shock you to know that soil research have mapped the whole of Ghana and know every soil type and what you need per area, which nutrients you need per area. If you have that information, I bet you are 60% off the grade. You spend much. All these things are there that will help a farmer to move on. Hook onto information. Know when it's going to rain. Know when it's not going to rain. Know when the dry spell is coming in. Know when we are expecting heavy rains. All this is there to help you. Know the market prices. Know which market is giving you the best price, which market is giving you the less price. Know where to buy and where to sell. All this together assists you to move from one end to the other. But if you're not making use of the technology, you're not making use of the information, you're not making use of the research that the people are doing, I beg you, there's no way you can make it go. You have been left behind more than 100 years. We need to grow. We need to move ahead. We need to make the millions of money in the soil. Please, that is where the money is. The money is in the soil. Oh, those who are doing the galamsey, the gold and all that is not money. The actual money is in the soil by doing agriculture, by growing crops, by rearing animals. And I bet you the country will move more than whatever we are doing. Thank you.
Well, 33 past 27 minutes more to go. And this is Business Breakfast on Z with me, Nitrebi Hammond. And this morning we're talking youth in agri-business, whether it is agriculture is our next $1 million or $1 billion, or according to Mr. Nikwe, $1 trillion industry. And I have in studio with me Philip. Philip is a farmer and he is a project manager at Echo Gardens, at the Echo Gardens project. And I also have Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a consultant, an agribusiness consultant. And also I have with me Mr. Nikwe. Mr. Nikwe works with Isoko, a company that uses mobile technology to connect farmers to markets and also provide them information, services, and financial products, which ultimately aims to empower smallholder farmers and also improve their livelihoods. Now, Mr. Nikwe, I'm coming back to you. Now, one of the challenges that I know they've not mentioned, but one of the challenges, according to my research, is market access. When they are done getting the products, now it becomes difficult to locate who to sell to. And I think that is one of the biggest problems. Philip, you would agree? Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Nikwe, how does your organization provide, what services do you provide to connect farmers to markets?
Thank you very much. Yes, market always creates a big challenge, especially when you are doing with perishable products, which have a shorter lifespan. But at Isoko, we have a product we call the bid and offer, simply put, buying and selling, where we do the matchmaking between the farmer and then the buyers or the aggregators or the end markets, where one can easily use to locate a buyer in the whole country. Anywhere in the country, you have a buyer there. You can use it to locate that buyer, and then we can help you move your product. But my Mr. Philip will agree with me that the issue is not mainly on the buying aspect or the market aspect. The issue is mainly on the pricing aspect. We look at it, and then at the end of the day, the price on the market is low. So you may not be able to sell at that price and then make the needed profit that you think you want to make. That is one of the major challenges I see. And that is because we are not making the yield that we are supposed to make. If you are supposed to get, for example, you do maize, you are supposed to get about 20 bags, and you are now getting 5 to 6 bags. You are far below the target, and you need to sell at a higher cost. But at that time, the prices over there is very low. You can't make it over there. If you are having tomato and you have grown, you have had a bumper harvest, and you're not getting the market. Now, most of our tomato factories are not working. So you need to get a very good storage facility where you can store and sell later. But here's the case, the sale facilities are not there. So you'll be forced to sell at a lower price. But if all these things are there, you'll be able to at least make a meaningful revenue, and then break even or make a lot of profit from your farming activity. But at Isoko, as I said earlier on, we have the matchmaking, which is the buying and selling, where we link up buyers and farmers, or farmers and buyers together on the market. You simply dial 1900 or dial 0302211611, and our call center agents will be always willing to help you, link you to one buyer or the other. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Let me come to Philip. Now, Philip, what farming ventures have the highest market demand and profitability?
That is a very tricky one to answer, because the various areas of agriculture, they are lucrative depending on your strategy. I'm saying strategy because once you're able to identify your niche and have a strategy that gears towards that directly, you realize that you'd make the money you intend to, because the market is there for various parts. There's in animal farming, and even in animal farming, the various parts of animal farming, there is poultry, there is the ruminants, that's goat, cattle, yes, and then there is fish farming, there is snail farming. They all have ready markets, but it's all up to the farmer. It's all up to the entrepreneur, the one going in. But I would say the most lucrative, I don't even want to say the most. I don't want to put the spotlight on one part.
Okay.
But from my experience, I've touched on vegetables, and the perishable nature makes it quite dicey. But then the rate at which you consume vegetables, it's very high. There is and when I say vegetable, I'm adding habanero peppers and tomatoes. So with the other ones, with vegetables like that, that since there is ready market, having, and then usually it's also a short period of time to be ready. Having the right system and having the right expertise is all you need. Because if you have the expertise and you have all the tools available, and you use like the digital tools, all of that available, you realize that you'd be able to make your returns. People are making money out of vegetable farming, right. and with the introduction of greenhouses, you realize that there is even an all year round guarantee of production, and that is steady income you're going to make. Animal farming, we love meat in this country. We enjoy meat. You know that there is ready market for it. Cereals. In terms of the issue with cereals has to do with the storage. So having silos to store your grain is what the issue is. Exactly. But then it's also a very lucrative part because we use cereals every single day. We consume agricultural products at a high rate. And so there is literally an endless stream of opportunities in terms of agriculture. And so to answer your question, it's quite dicey.
Right, so basically it cuts across
every aspect of agriculture. And the thing about agriculture is that the value chain is quite long.
Right.
You could be in logistics and storage. You could be in processing.
Okay.
You could be in the marketing aspect. and you could be involved in all of that even at the same time.
Okay.
But it just has to do with capacity and knowledge. So it's up to us to bridge that gap. We have to invest in acquiring that knowledge, because once you're doing it right, the income is guaranteed. Yeah.
Income is guaranteed. Okay, let me come to Emmanuel. Now, Emmanuel, you are into consultancy. That's why I'm asking you this. What agribusiness models work best for young entrepreneurs?
Okay, so I think the point of correction, not just into consultancy, but actually into farming. And
you're also into farming. Oh, right.
So, into farming and agriculture.
Okay.
So,
please speak up a bit.
Okay. Is it better now? Sorry.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it better now?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, so like for you mentioned, it's quite difficult to point out one or two, because in fact all of them, almost every consumer product has a high market value. What I would like to say is that one way the days people were looking at certain crops, and then the focus was just on some crops and then neglecting others. But then in this day and age, almost every crop, or almost every animal, almost every farming product from the farm really sells, and it has a good and a high market value. And almost all the products that we do in Ghana has high export potential. And so it will be difficult to point out and say that, these are much more, lucrative than this. It all depends on the market, and the market will take it down, and the audience you're selling to. Somebody, for us, what has really worked for us, or what really works for us, are snails, mushrooms, and vegetables. These three are products that the ROI is about 150% for each one of them. Yes. And so it means that, however, there may be other crops or there may be other products in the agribusiness space that have an ROI over 200 or 300% over a period of 3 months or 4 months. All these are there, So it's difficult to point out and then put a spotlight on one. However, like I said, in our case, snails, mushrooms, vegetables have been working for us over the years, and then we're so comfortable with it because then we're able to understand it. Recently, when we started a dried fruit business, when we did the mathematics, we realized that the margins, the ROI is over 100%, and all that. And it means that it depends on what you're looking at. Like I said, the target market, who people are going to sell to, and all that. Because we may have someone also in some community somewhere doing mushrooms are struggling to sell it. However, for us, our mushrooms are not, we are not even able to meet the demand on us for mushrooms. And so we seek for other farmers to even help, complement what we are doing. And so that it's huge. It's a big conversation if you want to really dive into it and then pick it one after the other. However, I'll say that we look at it from picking the one that has low investment but quick return on investment. For instance, if I'm doing mushrooms, there's a point where I can start from mushrooms where if I should start today being Monday, I start from today, by Friday I start harvesting. And so maximum in a week time I start selling from my mushroom farm. And that is, if you're looking at it from a scale of preference, let's say if I'm being snails, which will take me about 8 months to 1 year. If I'm being vegetables, where some vegetables, which I'm being pepper, will take me about 3 to 4 months to harvest. As against mushrooms, which within a week I'll start harvesting. You can be looking at which of these that you would want to invest. So there are some that are very short term, there are some that are very medium, there are some that are a bit long term, there are some that are very long term investments before you get the return. However, they all have what they bring to the table, and then as a farmer or as a young person, you look at the priorities, you look at the amount of money you have in your hand, then look at which one you can invest into. But trust me, almost all other agribusiness, all forms of agribusinesses are very lucrative. It all depends on your market one, and then also, like my brother said, the strategy to put in place. Because if you live in an area where probably it's difficult to sell fish, you don't go to fish farming in that area. it means that yes, you can be the face in the community and bring it to Accra and sell in Accra, but then your cost of operating may also go up, which may affect your profit margin. So the same person, the same product somebody in Accra doing it, you are, let's say, in let's say community somewhere in the Eastern region or Bono region, we may all be doing the same product, but at the end of the day, the returns on investment that I will get will be different from the returns on investment the person in Bono will get. Why? Because of our location, because of, so you need to strategize. It's one of the days that if you just look at farming as anything like not putting any strategies or plans in place, they're going to it, and then if it's far, you move on. This is farming a small business than any other thing. So you need to really sit down, strategize, calculate, know everything. And then we are fortunate to have some of these technologies like Isoko is giving us, so that you're able to monitor properly and understand what you're doing, so that you know that whatever you're doing it's not like you're going to do a try and error kind of activity, but then you're going into it knowing very well that these things I'm going to do are going to work out for me. I'm going to get the returns on investment that I anticipate. So it depends on where you are, the market and all that, so that before you tell whether what you want to invest in to be more profitable in your area, or depending on the market you want to sell to.
Right. Not to. Yeah. So I want to know what the particular model that works. Essentially, I'm asking about whether farming, processing, or exporting is the model that works best for young entrepreneurs.
Okay, so I would say that again, look at where your strength is. Okay, so farming, if you want to do agro-processing, if you're doing agro-processing without a farm, somebody say it's like more like you're digging your own, grave to bury it, because your suppliers can always fail you. So if you have a backlog of your own production going on, then you can be assured that even if farmers should fail you, you can still rely on your own product on your own farm to ensure that production continues.
Right.
And so it'll be difficult for us to say that for me to tell you that I'll just go into agro-processing that considering farming. However, you can start with agro-processing, but have an eye on also producing the raw materials yourself, so that in the long run, it even helps you to cut down costs. And prices of the commodities go up, your own farm can complement what you produce, and so you can have a stable price over a period of time. And so, as a young person, I would recommend, depending on your investment, because if you want to go into agro-processing, in fact, it has a lot of in betweens there, because they need to now look at the regulatory bodies with FDA, the GSA. You need to look at some standardizing certain activities, getting some machinery and all that. As a starter, it's a lot of cost. It may be a lot of cost for you. However, if it is just the farming that you're doing, even though there may be some other capital expenditures, but you can always find a way around it. Unlike agro-processing, where if you don't have the FDA, it becomes quite difficult for you to sell. If you do not have some standardized, some certifications, it becomes difficult for you to even penetrate through the market.
Right. Now let's talk about the way forward. And I'll start with you, Philip. Now, if a young person has some 10,000 Ghana cedis and they want to get into agribusiness, what's the best way they can invest?
The best way to invest. You mentioned 10,000 cedis.
Yeah.
The first thing is feasibility study, research, market analysis. The first thing is book work. You need to ask the right questions. You need to brainstorm. You need to think. Because as vast as the agricultural space is, there are so many factors that will determine the profitability of your business. So you need to first find out your demographic. Where are you going to be located? Where are you selling to?
Right.
Because when you find out the demographic, now you can find out what is in high demand. So with something like that, you'd realize that the research is the most important. So first thing, after researching, you need to now create a team, develop a plan, a business plan, because your research will inform your niche. It would inform where the angle you decide to use, or what crop, what product, what part of the industry. There is the production, there's the processing, there's the storage, there is logistics, there is cold chain. So you would want to do that research. After the research, you need a plan, and after your plan, you need a team. And in team, I say a team because, okay, you would want to start small with 10,000 cedis. You'd want to start small, but you can't do it all alone.
Right.
And with a team, that's where knowledge and expertise come in. So you you consult, you seek out experts in the field. You seek out, let's say you've decided to go into vegetable farming. You need to first talk to successful vegetable farmers.
Okay.
What did they do right? And people that are farming what you want to farm. You need to understand their processes. You also need to understand the dynamics of it. You need to talk to an agronomist. I want to give quite a detailed process for something like this.
Yeah.
You need to talk to an agronomist. You need to look at the cost of, do you have a land? Are you going to rent it? Are you buying it? How much would it cost to prepare it?
Right.
Soil testing. What are the nutrients you would require? Are you going completely organic? Who are the people you are supplying to? Market analysis is what you should have done in the beginning. So if you're supplying to the local market, you know that there are certain standards. If you're supplying to the retail outlets, the ShopRites, you know that this is what you look at. So with that information in mind, you now decide on how you should use it. But for 10,000 cedis, you're starting small. And with something like that, the opportunity to scale up is what you can bank on, because there's a lot of potential. So with 10,000 cedis in vegetable farming, if you're farming lettuce is ready after 45 days. So if you have a direct market, if you have quality, quality gives value to price.
Right.
So if you have a good market that is giving you the best price for your quality, then it means that investing in the right team, if you have an agronomist that's experienced, he can take care of the crops, and then you know that every 40 days you're farming, you're going through, and that could give you, that could double your investment in a year.
Okay.
In a year, you could reap everything you put in, exactly, and still have your fixed assets and still be ready to go again. And so and I'm saying this because you definitely be relying on things like irrigation, have a water supply. So considering all that, you're on a path to growth. The main thing is, I think one of my brothers on the call mentioned that you shouldn't be looking to buy a Benz the moment you start. Yes, so long term is important, because you'd want to scale, and you'd want to also have a great share of the market as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I thank you very much. One of the very important things is research, and a lot of young people don't do research. A lot of us don't do research when we're going to go into fields like that. And so I like the fact that you hammered on it. We have a few minutes to go. We have just about 5 minutes to go. Let me come to Ima, then I come to Mr. Nikwe, then we wrap up. So Ima, what policies do you think we need to change to make agribusiness more attractive to young people?
Okay, I think one of the things that we need to look at, one, is the land tenure system in Ghana. If there could be some policy around it to help young people to have access to some of these lands for farming activities, it will be a great tool. The next thing is that the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative, which was a very laudable one, but then as all farmers say, the implementation was very problematic. I think if there's a way that we could go back to that policy, bring all stakeholders on board, and then make it in such a way that it is youth-centric, it becomes more youth-centric than it was, and then ensure that the plans which you put in there, is strategically followed, it would really be of great help. And then I think some other policies would also include if the banks could, if there could be a policy where banks would give some grace period or some forms of loans to young people looking to start agribusiness or going to farming. What should be a deliberate, like an intentional activity. Recently, a friend was telling me that you go to a bank, you're a vegetable farmer, you go to a bank, they want a loan. You know the vegetables will be ready after 3 months. But the loan, the bank will tell you to start paying the following month, the same month that you took the loan. So then, apparently, it means that, you know, already they are causing, there's a doom ahead of you because the crop which you're going to harvest and pay back the loan will be ready in 3 months. However, the bank is telling you to start paying from that same month that you took the facility, which means that where are you going to get money to do? It means that you need to keep part of the money that you went to invest, you went to take as a loan to invest into the business. You need to keep some to pay for the first 3 months, even before the products are ready. You know, so if there can be some intentional, you know, activities that would ensure that some of these things, you know, access to funding, access to finance is not really a problem, but then, or there are measures that are measuring all these things. I think it would go a long way to help get a lot of young people into it. But one of the major hindrances for young people going into farming or every business is the access to finance or funding, and that has to be looked at.
Right. Thank you very much, Ima. Now let me come finally to Mr. Nikwe. Mr. Nikwe, what can be done to make farming less labor intensive and more tech driven?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the first thing is to get the technologies around. We want to be
Hello. All right, I think we lost him there. Well, so gentlemen, we wrap up our conversation. Maybe your final thoughts, then we can go. Philip.
Thank you. I would like to share that agriculture is often overlooked, especially in terms of potential for growth and making revenue, but it's not the case. And when we come together collectively, we can actually make it so huge that everybody around us gets to benefit. And one thing is also that we are consumers. Don't forget that we are always looking to consume. We like food. So, I mean, yeah, it's something we should all come together and put money in there, together collectively.
Right. Thank you. Emmanuel, finally, in 1 minute.
Okay, so I would like to say that, like my brother said, it's an area for business, an area that has potential to employ a lot of us young people. We have the potential to, you know, increase our GDP and all that. So we should make some deliberate attempt, we should take some deliberate action to be able to ensure that we are tapping into this good of our time. So if you're a young person, then you're looking to, I don't know if I can give my contact out, but if you're a young person, then you're looking to start any form of agribusiness, and then to find some challenges doing it, you can always reach out to us, and then we can assist you find your feet and look at what you can invest into.
Well, so thank you very much. Of course, today's discussion has made one thing clear, that agriculture is no longer just about planting and harvesting. It's tech-driven It's a tech-driven, high-profit business that can transform Ghana's economy. A big thank you to Philip Kiku, who is a farmer and project manager of the Eco Garden project. Emmanuel Chini, a farmer and founder of QET Organic Farms and Sabet Consult, and also Mr. Gordon Kote Nikwe, Senior Business Advisor at Isoko. Thank you, gentlemen, for your incredible insights. And to you, our audience, if you are a young Ghanaian looking for your next big opportunity, agribusiness might just be your golden ticket. Follow us on social media and share your thoughts. We are at ZFMGH on Instagram, Facebook, and X. Do well to engage us. accordingly. And this has been Business Breakfast on Z. We are back again tomorrow at exactly 6:15 a.m. My name is Niche B. Hammond, signing off. Up next is The Brighter Side with NY, the brand. When you think Ghana, think Z. See you tomorrow.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Z1